Good evening and welcome to the Cedar Falls Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for this Wednesday, December 22nd, 2021. Karen, could we have a roll call?
Chrisman?
Present.
Gribovich? Hartley?
Here.
Holst?
Here.
Larson? Leeper? Lynch?
Here.
Moser?
Present.
Saul?
Here.
All right. We have a quorum despite being down a chairman and a vice chair, and so I'll be sitting in tonight for that. Our first item is the approval of the minutes from the December 8th, 2021 meeting.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by aye.
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 That carries. Next item is public comments. This would be anybody who would like to address the commission on an item that is not on the agenda for tonight. You have the opportunity to do that right now. Seeing none, we'll move on from public comments. We have one item of old business, and it's a preliminary plat for the Cedar Falls west of Viking Road Industrial Park, Phase 5. And Michelle, I think you're introducing that one?
I am.
Okay.
So I'd like to make a correction to the agenda. Tonight's meeting staff recommends approval of the preliminary plat and asks the Planning and Zoning Commission to review and make a recommendation to the City Council. The applicant, the city, is proposing 29 building lots and 4 outlots, actually make that 5 now, for regional stormwater management and buffers and on approximately 200 acres of land. The site is located south of West Viking Road and east of Union Road, west of the existing Viking Industrial Park. The property has been leased out as farmland. On December 8th, the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, staff went over a full detail of this application. Tonight, we are going to be looking over the changes made in response to the Planning and Zoning Commission, as well as what we heard from the public meeting on December 16th. Staff has prepared responses of what we've heard, and we do have those detailed slides on the project if we have any questions regarding those. So originally proposed Lot 9 did not have direct access. It had an easement to the public right-of-way. And from our last meeting, now that Lot 9 is a flag lot with direct access to Innovation Drive, as shown in the phasing and preliminary plan. Since the publication of the packet, the city is now requesting a small addition of an outlot T, which is in the bottom corner. And this outlot T will be deeded to the neighboring property off of Development Drive. So on our public meeting held on December 16th, we had about 20 citizens come to that meeting, and we heard concerns of the temporary access off of West Viking Road and the site distance that is there. We heard concerns on speeds along Union Road as well as West Viking Road, and the neighbors to the north were concerned about lots 1 through 7 and concerned over spillover glare, trash, the site elevation difference between West Viking Road and the lots, what the uses were proposed, and the hours of operation. While we can't limit the hours of operation, we were able to provide a code link to the uses allowed on the code after the meeting. We also heard from the neighbors to the west concerns of stormwater being routed away from the property, questions on who will maintain the landscaping berm, and dust on Union Road. So looking over at spillover glare, trash, elevation difference in the berm, staff looked at the deed of dedication and the plat and noted that the plat does have a 530 feet buffer for Lot Y to separate those industrial uses from the properties to the north. Also, the deed of dedication talks about that all trash receptacles on lots 1 through 7 shall be enclosed and screened from the residential development. a requirement from the deed of dedication to require 5 additional trees at the rear setback. And since the publication of the packet, staff has added to require or to limit signs on the rear of those buildings, and also limit parking and dock doors and truck access from the rear of the building and from the rear of the property. And then also limiting storage in the rear, but allowing outdoor seating for employees. The deed of dedication for all properties would also limit lighting to be downcasted and fully shielded to prevent glare and spillover light. Floodlights and wall pack fixtures used would be needed to be at a 45-degree angle and located in shield away from the residential use. And then the property owners that would have the easement for the southern landscaping berm would be responsible for any maintenance and cleanup. And now I'll turn it over to Matthew Tolan, our civil engineer with the city of Cedar Falls.
Thank you, Michelle. Commissioners, on behalf of the engineering department, a couple of issues that came up, the public information meeting, more related to the construction side. One of the first issues was the temporary access road from Viking Road. This is a temporary construction access that is for solely the Lot 8 builder. Our construction, if you remember from our phasing plan, is staged in 2 phases. We'll have mass grading the first half of construction season, and then we'll have the infrastructure build out in the second half. This temporary road would be placed in that second half construction season for a 3-month window until the public roadways are fully opened and installed. At that point, the developer would have to shift and build from the public roadway. With the temporary road itself, looking at options for mitigation, we will remove the existing farm drive and place in a stabilized construction entrance as outlined per SUDAS. With the Viking Road improvements, there are also advanced notice of construction signs that will be installed along with the Viking Road closure that will happen when the culvert goes in from the phase 1 work. Other options we have at our disposal for traffic control, we've been using them on other projects, would be requesting the speed radar trailer and looking at setting up a work zone speed limit reduction to help slow vehicles through there to help improve sight distance and stopping distance. And then with that, you can advance to the next slide. Looking at helping with sight line distance, these are photos that were taken last week of just maintaining the right-of-way in the ditch there, helping knock down vegetation. Sight distance is limited from the west of the driveway. We would look with our public works crews to help eliminate some of that vegetation. There is good sight distance from leaving the proposed leaving the proposed construction entrance looking west. For vehicles traveling east, with some of that vegetation removed, that truck's currently sitting 10 to 15 back from the road, so there would be adequate visibility, we feel, at that point. Eastbound traffic, or westbound traffic, there is quite a bit of visibility there, and just helping reduce some of that vegetation as well will help open up visibility. The next item that we were talking about was some of the stormwater being routed away from the neighbors. In this area, a lot of the drainage shed falls to the to the north and to the west. We're currently working with our design consultant, Snyder Associates. There's a drainage and storm sewer network already for the detention basin located to the south of the property in the northwest corner. We're looking at establishing an agreement with them before the final plat to help have a monitored release of stormwater to help ensure that their private ponds will be able to be still receive runoff to help monitor those. Another concern was dust on Union Road. Some of our mitigation with that is we're going to be limiting all city construction traffic limited to the existing industrial park. So all access will come through the existing roadways that are there, not from Union Road, and not through Viking Road, other than that one access point for solely the Lot 8 builder, which is not the city. So all our heavy loads will come off Hudson Road and through the existing industrial park. As far as the Viking Road closure, we'll be detouring to the north instead of the south. So we'll be utilizing Viking Road, Union Road north of Viking, which is a seal coat overlay mix through there up to University and back down on Hudson. And then lastly, any dust that is a result of the city project will be mitigated through SWIP control measures with our project.
Thank you, Matt. So in conclusion, staff recommends approval of the preliminary plat for the Cedar Falls West Viking Road Industrial Park phases 5 and 6, subject to the following conditions. Any comments and direction specifically from the Planning and Zoning Commission, and then making sure that it conforms to all city staff recommendations and technical requirements. And that concludes our presentation, and we're open for any questions.
Thanks, Michelle and Matt. Commissioners, any questions for the staff? Okay. And we did note that on the agenda, it talks about discussion and carrying on to the next meeting, but we would actually, I think, since it was discussed last meeting, we would like to go ahead and take action on this and forward it onto the city council. So, for the commissioners, just to make note of that. Is there anyone here who would like to address this? Please come forward and state your name and address.
Hi, I'm Michael Hager, live at 6830 Viking Road. The Cedar Falls has had great success over time with diversifying our economy, and the industrial parks have played a significant role in that. I think the city and staff have done important work in keeping our community economically healthy and vibrant, something for which we should all be grateful and proud. When the industrial park expansion was announced a couple years ago, many of the surrounding neighbors got together to discuss the land purchase and the intended use. The fact that the industrial park was expanding was not a surprise. Most of us knew that would ultimately be the use of that land. What did surprise us was the timing. We thought we had at least another 10 years before that came over, but the need for expansion is a result of economic development success, and we know that thoughtful economic development helps our community thrive. Not everything that comes before you carries the same weight. In this case, we have industrial butting up against residential. Many people see those two zones on opposite ends of the spectrum. So if industrial and residential are coming up against each other, as they are here, it could have a particularly egregious impact to residential homes if there's not careful thought and planning. To a large extent, those of us in the residential areas are relying on you to make sure there's not something that we have overlooked in the process. The planning thus far looks excellent. The berm on the northeast corner has continued around the corner to buffer those homes. The tree line to be established on the southern or the eastern edge of the property shields those homes. And then there are the outlots W, X, and Y. The northernmost outlot, Y, is a detention basin, not so subtly disguised as a 22-acre park with a trail, canopy trees, and green areas around what most of us will view as a small lake. At more than 500 feet set back from the residential area across the street and the creation of an enjoyable outdoor area, this plan seems to address most of the concerns raised by neighbors, and address it in fine fashion, to be candid. After listening to the changes the staff has made since the neighborhood meeting, I think all of the concerns from my perspective have been addressed. There is one more item I want to share with you, and I want to make sure we do so publicly, and that is the great work that we have seen from the City of Cedar Falls staff. They've been absolutely wonderful to work with. As we all know, change can be difficult for people, and sometimes that generates strong feelings, which I suspect you see periodically here. But the staff have done excellent work, and I want to call out two people specifically. The first is Shane Graham with Economic Development. Outside the two public meetings, I know many of us reached out to him, and he was always pleasant and highly responsive to our needs. Even last night, after work hours, I sent an email not anticipating a response, yet Shane responded. The open communication and information sharing builds trust and leads to better outcomes for everyone involved. The second is Matthew Tolan. He had the task of standing up in front of everyone at the community meeting, which for those of us that do that occasionally in our jobs is not necessarily a fun task. But he did it very professionally, listened attentively, provided rationale and alternative thinking, and most importantly, helped keep the tone of the meeting civil. Even after the presentation, he came into the audience and sat down for continued authentic listening and dialogue. As I'm saying this outside now, or out loud, it occurs to me I might need to apologize to Matthew because I might be setting up with his work colleagues to always be on the front of the room for those meetings now. I support the expansion and support the plan before you, particularly with the revisions that the staff have put forward. Thank you for your time and thoughtful consideration of this unusual pairing of industrial and residential zoning.
Thanks, Michael. Is there anyone else here tonight who would like to address the commission on this rezoning? Not rezoning, but it's plat. Seeing none, I will close it to the public and bring it back to the commission for a motion or discussion and/or discussion.
I'd move to move it forward and want to say thanks to the staff for making it happen. Sounds like you did a great job.
I would second that and second Leanne's comments as well.
So we moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Yeah, I think it looks like everybody's done a great job, and I appreciate, I think, all the nice adjustments you made based on the input from the last meeting, I think is obviously greatly appreciated. So looks like it's going the right direction. Anybody else? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and let's do a roll call vote.
Crispin,
Approve.
Grivovich. Aye. Hartley,
Aye.
Holst,
Aye.
Lynch,
Aye.
Moser,
Aye.
Saul.
Aye.
All right, so that carries. Do you know when that's likely to go to city council, just out of curiosity?
The plan would be to have it on the January 3rd.
January 3rd, okay. Excellent. All right, we have one item of new business tonight, and that's the amendment to the site plan for the River Place Plaza. And Stephanie, I understand you're here to present this?
I am.
Tonight, I'd like to just go over a couple points with the River Place Plaza. This might be familiar to some of the commissioners, but with some new faces here, I'll try not to skip over the details. This item was first reviewed back in 2016, and then there was a site plan amendment that happened in March of 2020. And since that time, the developer has completed the plaza and built it, and even added a couple things that the city council asked to be added to the project when the site plan was in front of the city council. So I mentioned those in the staff report. At this time, I want to discuss with the Planning and Zoning Commission one change that we felt was a substantial change to bring forward and at least have a conversation about it. When we reviewed the plaza, we indicated in the staff report, it was our understanding that the stage area, which is kind of that truss system, and maybe I'll fast forward to, sorry, we won't skip over the location. I'm assuming everybody knows the plaza location. It's been well used there at the corner of 2nd and State. But this image was a summer 2021 image of the plaza area. Obviously is very well decorated right now for holiday hoopla and looks very different. But that stage system there with the truss work is in place today. It has a little bit different cover on it right now with the holiday season. But that is what we're talking about tonight and what is proposed to stay as a permanent improvement at the plaza. And that had not been conveyed in the original staff report. That was not originally the understanding. And so that's why I thought we should bring that forward, because we did not do any design review of it or really talk about it too much, since we indicated it was a temporary structure that would come up and down during the time frame of May to October and would be up for no longer than 1 week at a time. So in the packet, you have an explanation from the developer about the change and why we're bringing this forward in terms of the structure has to be it had to be a little bit more robust, I guess, than maybe originally thought, and so that's a lot more difficult to take up and down as originally indicated. Given that the design of it doesn't necessarily match the plaza area, that would have been a focus in the review, but, and the reason why we'd bring it forward for any discussion here. But staff is recommending, given the fact that it's been in place for a while, doesn't seem to be creating any real concerns, and in fact being utilized quite frequently, and even through the winter months, perhaps it is something that makes sense, and we'd seek any discussion from the Planning and Zoning Commission on that matter.
Great. Thanks, Stephanie. Is there anyone here in the audience who would like to address this item? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the commission for discussion and a recommendation.
Well, I think it's kind of a happy accident maybe that this all worked out the way that it did. I think it's a great piece that we've added to our town, and I agree that it really isn't causing any issue. So I would move the amendment forward.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Is further discussion? I would concur. I agree. I think, you know, it wasn't probably really a practical thing to put too good of a stage up and down all the time, and so having something a little more permanent is a better solution, and I don't have any great qualms with the structure as constructed now, so. Anybody else? Seeing none, I'll ask for a roll call vote.
Chrisman?
Aye.
Rubovich? Aye. Hartley?
Aye.
Holst?
Aye.
Lynch?
Aye.
Moser?
Aye.
Saul?
Aye.
That motion carries.
All right. Well, that takes care of all of our regular business for this meeting. Is there any commission updates, Karen? Or
I just want to say thank you for all your service this last year. I know it was very, very busy, and the commission did a lot of hard work on some code amendments in the downtown code. You had a lot of extra meetings, so I just wanted to convey our appreciation for all the hard work that you do, and wish you happy holidays and a happy new year.
yeah, thank you, and same to the staff. We appreciate all your hard work. All right, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor signify by aye.
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 We are adjourned.
Aye.
Thank you very much.